Hello everyone, Assalamu alaikum. We are going to discuss more on the Slutsky equation, and in the Slutsky equation we discuss in a different way. Now we are going to evaluate our Slutsky equation in the three different goods. The goods mean the normal goods, inferior goods and the Giffen goods. So we must have to be interested in this case that what is the behavior of the Slutsky equation in the case of the normal good, inferior good and the Giffen goods. So let's see. First of all, we start from the basic Slutsky equation is that the total effect is equal to the substitution effect and the income effect. So we are just recalling our analysis, and in the analysis we can say that what is happening basically, first of all, we are consuming the goods X and Y, number one, and we are evaluating that the price of X is increased. When the price of the X has been increased, so what we have to do this, we first of all we will understand that the commodity of the X, the consumption of the commodity of the X will be decreased as the price of the X has been increased. So what will be? We have the two different impact. Number one is that the total effect. This means total consumption that has been decreased by the consumer will be counted as a total effect. And we can say that the total effect has the two different effects. Number one is the substitution effect and other is the income effect. And in the substitution effect, we will say that when the consumer will be compensated, after the compensation, what is the net effect? What is the substitution? That means the consumer in any case will reduce the good of the X. So we will evaluate these cases by the help of the graphs. So first of all, our assumption is that we are considering the normal good. Okay, so if there is a normal good, so what will be? We can say that this is the consumption of the good, the change in X with respect to the change in income. So if the change in X is positive with respect to the change in M is positive, so अगर इसका डेरिवेटिव पॉजिटिव आता है तो हम ये कह सकते हैं कि the good is our normal, कि अगर हमारी इनकम के बढ़ने से कंजप्शन में भी इजाफा हो रहा है तो वो गुड एज ए नॉर्मल ट्रीट की जाएगी, वो नॉर्मल बिहेवियर कर रही है. Similarly, if we are understanding that if it is a normal, so we will have some changes in our Slutsky equation. तो अगर मैं आपसे ये बात कहूँ कि ये गुड अपने आप को प्राइस की चेंज होने से नेगेटिव दिखाती है, तो इसका मतलब ये है कि ये एक ऑर्डिनरी गुड है. व्हाट इज दिस? दिस इज नॉर्मल गुड और दिस इज ऑर्डिनरी गुड. देखें ये बहुत बेसिक कॉन्सेप्ट है और हमने इससे समझना है इस बात को. नॉर्मल गुड, ये गुड इस टाइम एट ए टाइम नॉर्मल भी है और ऑर्डिनरी भी है, बिकॉज अगर इनकम के इजाफे से गुड में इजाफा हो रहा है कंजम्पशन को, तो वो कंज्यूमर उस गुड को एज ए नॉर्मल ट्रीट करता है और एट द सेम टाइम वो उसको ऑर्डिनरी भी ट्रीट करता है कि नहीं, लेकिन इनकम के बढ़ने से इजाफा करेगा, लेकिन अगर प्राइस बढ़ेगी तो उसकी कंजम्पशन में कमी वाक़ई करेगा. तो एट ए टाइम द गुड एक्स इज़ अ नॉर्मल and good X is the ordinary. अब हम ये ऑब्जर्व करते हैं कि ये ग्राफ में हम कैसे शो कर सकते हैं. So let's suppose we have the graph of X and Y good, and we are first drawing the budget constraint, and we are saying that this is our initial we can say that this is our initial equilibrium, or this is U1. On U1 we are here, and later on the price of the X has been increased, and then the consumer has been moved here, and this is the U2. So आपको पता है कि वो एक लोअर इंडिफरेंस कर्व पे चला गया. So अब हमने देखना ये है कि फर्स्ट वो कहाँ था. फर्स्ट ही विल बेसिकली E0 और अब वो चला गया है E1 पे. ओके, अब हमें अंडरस्टैंड ये करना है क्या ये गुड हमारे पास एज ए नॉर्मल ट्रीट हो रही है या नहीं हो रही है, और अगर हो रही है तो किस तरह से होगी. First of all, we will understand that what is the consumption bundle. X1, Y1. This is a consumption bundle on E0. Okay. Later on, when the price of the X has been increased, so he has changed his consumption bundle and he is using the more Y and less X. Definitely a simple सा behavior है. So this has been proved that the good is considered as a ordinary. कि price के change होने से उसने उसकी कमी उसके अंदर कमी की है, उसकी consumption में कमी की है. So it is proved that by using this thing, the good is ordinary. Now our main case is the normal good. Now we have to think that whether this good will be considered as a normal or not. So about the Hicksian classification, the consumer should be compensated till he or she received his original indifference curve. So अगर हम इसको पैरेलल बढ़ाते हुए आते हैं और हम यहाँ तक लेके जाते हैं, तो आप देखते हैं कि वो एक नया इक्विलिब्रियम पालेगा और वो इक्विलिब्रियम हमारा E1 होगा. और हमने इस बात को देखा कि जब हमने इनकम को पैरेलल शिफ्ट किया और उसकी इजाफा किया तो उसने एक नया बंडल अचीव कर लिया, लेकिन सेम यूटिलिटी भी हासिल कर ली. अब ऑब्जर्व ये करना है कि वेदर दिस गुड इज ट्रीटेड एज ए नॉर्मल और नॉट. So in the case of the ordinary, we observed that when the price increased, the consumption of the commodity X has decreased, so that means it is the ordinary good. Now the second test is that whether this good is the normal or not. So now the income has been increased. Whenever income has been increased, whether the consumer treated this good as a normal or not. So if the income increases, so the consumption of the good should be increased. So now we have to think about the new bundle. The new bundle is this X3, Y3, and we can understand that the consumption of the X again increased from X2 to X3 as the income increases. So that's why it is proved that in this case the consumer is considering the good as a normal, and simultaneously the good is the ordinary. If it is the normal and ordinary, so what will be the impact on the Slutsky equation? So in the Slutsky equation we can understand that कि अगर ये positive impact है तो income effect जो है वो always be positive, mean कि income बढ़ेगी तो उसकी consumption में इजाफा होगा. Okay, this is a formula negative, and what will be the substitution? Substitution effect is always negative, and we can also see here कि प्राइस के बढ़ने से कंजम्पशन में जो है वो अपनी कमी वाकई वो कर रहा है, तो दिस इज ऑल्सो नेगेटिव. एंड इफ वी विल अंडरस्टैंड दैट, सो व्हाट विल बी द टोटल नेट इफेक्ट? नेट इफेक्ट मीन द नेगेटिव will be negative, so the total effect will also be the negative. And if it is the total effect is a negative, so we may understand that the good is normal and as well as the ordinary. Okay, now we discuss the next case. Next case is the inferior good. If it will be inferior, so what will be the shape, what will be the graph of the Slutsky equation? So we start from number one, inferiority. Inferiority means that the consumption of X will be decreased as the income increases. So the partial derivative will be the negative one. Okay, and now we are not discussing about the at this time we are not discussing about the ordinary good. So first we draw the graph and then we will calculate that what will be. So first of all we draw the graph in which this is X, this is the Y, and this is the initial condition, this is the second condition, and we are interested in U1, and this is basically the E0. And what is happening now? Now we are understanding that if the consumer is considering the good as a inferior, so what will be? It will be happen that the consumer will have this utility indifference curve, new equilibrium here, and the new equilibrium is E1. अब इसमें changes क्या क्या है? At this situation, as the price increases, the budget line shrinked towards the left side, towards the origin, and initial bundle is x1 y1. Later on, the initial bundle, both commodities has been decreased, x2 and y2. Later on, he suggested that the consumer should be compensated according to the Hitchens compensation, and then the budget line shifted from parallel movement, and the new equilibrium achieved from E2. Okay, so what is happening? As a result, the new equilibrium has been received. Now we draw the new consumption, x3 y3. Let's discuss the results. First of all, we are saying that the consumption of the good will be decreased as the income increase, so that's why कि inferior case बन जाएगा. अब initially वो x1 और y1 यूज़ कर रहा था, उसकी प्राइस में कमी वाक़ई हुई, प्राइस में इजाफा हुआ, तो उसने अपनी कंजम्पशन में कमी वाक़ई की और वो x1 से x2 पे आ गया. If it is happening, the good is considered as a ordinary. प्राइस के चेंज इजाफा होने से अगर वो अपनी कंजम्पशन में कमी कर रहा है तो इसका मतलब ये है कि गुड तो ऑर्डिनरी हो गई, जो ऊपर वाला केस हो गया. सो दिस इज ऑर्डिनरी गुड, बट एट दिस टाइम इट इज इंफीरियर. कि ये तो उसने कर दिया कि x1 से x3 पे गया. At the third stage, when the income increased, so what should be happened? It should be happened that the consumption of the good should be increased, because if it is considered as a normal, but in this case it is not considering the good acts as a normal. So when the income increases from this line to shifted from this line, so before income increased he was consuming at x2 unit, and the later on he further declined the consumption from x2 to x3. You can see here, आप E2 पे आप easily देख सकते हैं कि जो नया बंडल बना है उसने इनकम के इजाफे होने से सिग्निफिकेंटली इजाफा किया है y में. y को उसने नॉर्मल ट्रीट किया है, लेकिन x2 को उसने एज ए इंफीरियर ट्रीट किया है, और इनकम के इजाफे के बाद मज़ीद x2 से वो x3 यानी मज़ीद उसने उसमें कमी वाक़ई की है. तो दिस इज़ द केस ऑफ द इंफीरियर गुड, and in which we can say that the commodity X is considering as an inferior as well as the ordinary. Now the third one is, now first of all we will evaluate what is the Slutsky results. Okay, Slutsky results says that the income effect is negative. Okay, and substitution effect is also negative, and central one is negative. So if it is situation, so the result will be the positive. But we cannot say the result will be positive, because this will be the negative one and this will be the positive one. Now we have to think that which impact will dominate. जो impact यानी substitution impact या income effect जो dominate कर जाएगा, जिसका value बड़ी आ जाएगी, result में हमें वो impact मिलेगा. तो जब हमारे पास good ordinary होती है और normal होती है, तो we are 100% sure that the net effect will be the negative. लेकिन जब हमारे पास गुड ऑर्डिनरी होती हैं लेकिन इन्फीरियर होती हैं, तो फिर हम ये फैसला फ़ौरन नहीं दे सकते कि नेट इम्पैक्ट, टोटल इम्पैक्ट जो है वो हमारे पास नेगेटिव आएगा. वी मस्ट हैव टू थिंक दैट कि वेदर द सब्स्टिट्यूशन इफेक्ट विल डोमिनेट, वेदर द इनकम इफेक्ट विल डोमिनेट. इफ द सब्स्टिट्यूशन इफेक्ट विल डोमिनेट, सो वी कैन से दैट कि सब्स्टिट्यूशन इफेक्ट बड़ा होगा इनकम इफेक्ट से, और अगर ये बड़ा होगा तो रिजल्ट में हमें नेगेटिव मिल जाएगा. और नेगेटिव का मतलब ये है कि गुड हमारी पास रिजल्ट में ऑर्डिनरी हो जाएगी एंड नेगेटिव, और यहाँ पर यही हो रहा है. यू कैन अंडरस्टैंड दैट कि दिस इज़ बेसिकली E2 to E2 इज़ अ सब्स्टिट्यूशन इफेक्ट, कि वो एटलीस्ट अपनी इस कमोडिटी को इस बंडल पे शिफ्ट कर गया सेम यूटिलिटी के साथ। लेकिन जो आपका जो इन डिफरेंस का जो सेकंड वाला है वो इन दोनों के बीच में बना है, इसका मतलब सब्स्टिट्यूशन इफेक्ट इनकम इफेक्ट पे डोमिनेट कर गया और एज ए रिजल्ट ये गुड जो है वो एज ए inferior ट्रीट होगी। Now we discuss the third case. This is very interesting, the Giffen good case. In the Giffen good case, what will be? So we understand that the graph, and in the graph we will discuss that what is happening. This is basically the budget line, and here we are saying the price has been increased. So that's when it is shifted. This is commodity Y, this is commodity X, and initially the consumer is moving here. This is U1, this is E0, and when the price increases, so the consumer is going there, U2. Oh, why it is going there? Because we are saying Giffen good. In the Giffen good, we understand that the change in price will have the positive impact. कि अगर price जो है वो बढ़ेगी तो consumer उस goods की commodity consumption में और इजाफा कर देगा. That is called the Giffen good. So here we observe that initially the bundle is X1 and Y1. As the price increases, the consumer is significantly decreasing the Y but increasing the X2. प्राइस के बढ़ने से और वो उसमें मज़ीद इजाफा कर रहा है तो इसका मतलब ये गुड को एज ए गिफन कंसिडर कर रहा है. ओके, सो लेट्स डिस्कस द अदर केस. इन द अदर केस, if the income has been increased and he will be the compensated, so the what will be? So if the income increases and he goes there, so this will be the new equilibrium E1, and E1 says that X3 Y3, and in this condition the substitution effect will be this form कि E0 से आप E1 पे चले गए. पहले आपने गिफिन गुड होने की वजह से उसकी कंजम्पशन में इजाफा किया, लेकिन जैसे ही आपको इनकम मिली आपने Y में मज़ीद इजाफा किया लेकिन X को कम किया और आप नहीं ले आ गए. एंड when the income increased, so the very important thing you must have to understand that first we proved that this is a Giffen good case. And next question I will ask you, what happened here? जब आपने उसकी इनकम बढ़ाई तो उसको X2 से और आगे जाना चाहिए था लेकिन वो पीछे आ गया, और अगर वो पीछे आ गया तो इसका मतलब यह है कि उसने गिफिन गुड को एज ए इंफीरियर भी ट्रीट किया. तो द थिंग इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट एंड कंक्लूड दैट द एवरी गिफिन गुड will be the inferior good, but it is not necessary that the every inferior good will be the Giffen good. क्योंकि देखिए आपने इस केस में हमारे inferior good मिली लेकिन वो Giffen नहीं थी. लेकिन it is proved that कि when we started our case with the Giffen good, but it is also proved that कि the good was observed as a inferior. So Giffen good is the form of the inferior good basically. So we can say that in this condition the good is inferior and as well as is not ordinary बल्कि ये Giffen good है. So these are very essential case and these are very important interpretation of the normal, inferior and Giffen goods in the case of the Slutsky equation. I hope you learn about it. So I will request you to please subscribe my channel for more economics videos. Thank you.